Yo, what is up guys? It is your boy Nasty Moto, and today we are going to be working on the bob build. I believe this is part 9 and this thing is coming together really good, so super pumped about it. I have done a little bit of off-camera work on this thing. I say a little, actually a lot. I really just want to get this thing on the water, and it's getting a little cold out here, so I just have to grind on it off camera. But yeah, I'll show you guys what progress we made. All right, so just starting off with the more obvious things. As you can see, we do have a pole now, and also the tray is completely knocked out. This is about 4 to 5 layers of fiberglass, so it should be super strong. After everything was laid, I went ahead and sanded the top coat and then rolled a last layer with just a foam roller. That is how I was able to get this super smooth finish, and I think it's gonna help it be a little bit more durable. So I went ahead and did that for the tray, got everything shaped up, knocked out, and I also did that for the bottom. I put about 3 to 4 layers on the bottom, so that should be more than enough. And I also rolled the front nose piece. So this thing turned out pretty good. As you can see, super smooth finish on the whole thing. And I figured it was a good idea to sand down all the edges of the fiberglass and then roll it, so that way it will help with peeling, and I shouldn't have any problems with that, I hope. Another obvious thing, let's see, the pole. I have the 440 mount with the aluminum pole mounted up. I just drilled holes and made a bracket for underneath. So that bolted up, everything's super secure. I have a pole spring on there, so everything fits up really good. And I think that pole will work nicely for what I want it to do. So now that the outside is talked about, let's talk about what's underneath the hood. So there is the 760cc Yamaha power plant, and everything was pretty much just bolt in because, as you guys may know, I cut the bottom out of the wave blaster, so the motor mounts were exactly the same. Drive shaft, pump, pretty much everything was bolt in except for the E-box and obviously the exhaust tubing. I still have to figure out where I'm gonna mount up a gas tank. I believe just right up in there. I think I'm gonna run just a little dinky 2.5 gallon tank for now. And then I also have to mount up that battery tray somehow. So those are a couple little things to figure out, but as of right now, I think we can get this thing started. I just have to run some fuel line and run a gas tank in there, probably temporarily. Obviously hook up a battery, and everything else is pretty much plug and play. So I think for right now, we're gonna go ahead and run some fuel line and see if we can't get this thing to fire off, because I'm super pumped and I really just wanna hear this thing fire off, and then we can go ahead and button up everything else after that. And then it will probably be ready to take to the lake. So let's go ahead and run some fuel line and see if this thing won't fire off. All right, so before I run any fuel line, I don't know if I talked about this, that the pump is completely knocked out as well. It is just the stock OEM 155 millimeter Yamaha pump, which is one of their biggest pumps that they make. So this thing is gonna, shoot a lot of water, hopefully give us a lot of torque. But pump, ride plate, everything, water lines are hooked up. As far as the pump goes, still have to hook the water lines up at the motor, but we will do that after we fire it off. So let's go ahead and start knocking out these fuel lines. All right, so as you can see, fuel lines are knocked out, and I have the gas tank in there with just the lines running into the gas tank. It should pick it up. The carbs should pick up the gas at least. I have a battery hooked up, ready to go. And I think we're ready to start this thing. It's gonna be super loud, but I'm super pumped. So let's see what happens. All right, so I went ahead and dumped some fuel down below into the carbs. And let's just give it a shot, see what happens. Well, heck yeah, there you go. She fired off. Everything sounds super good. Let's go ahead and see if we can get it to run a little bit longer. All right, so like you guys just heard, this thing sounds super mean and super responsive. I'm probably gonna have to tune it up just a little bit because the stock 701 is probably gonna be a little more restrictive than the stock 760 pipe, just because it's obviously a little bit smaller and made for a smaller displacement. But with it being, straight pipes around and then out the back, it actually sounds pretty decent for what it is. I really don't think it's going to be too loud, especially on the water and with water flowing through the pipe. So that is super awesome. The pump, as you can see, the trim, I forgot to mention that. The trim, I'm probably just going to mount up just like that so it stays. We're probably not going to have trim that is adjustable for now just because I really don't want to mess with it. I just want to get this thing on the water. But I think my next couple steps are to obviously mount up a gas tank, mount up the battery box, and probably the bilge. The bilge shouldn't be too bad just because it's a stock Wave Blaster 2 bilge, but I'm probably gonna have to mount that up somehow. And after that, I think I just have to run water lines, run a pisser, and obviously put the handlebars on, figure out a steering situation because this cable is longer than the normal, 550, 440 cable. So it is going to be a little hard to mount up, but I think I'm just gonna have to create some more leverage on the turn plate. And just like I did here, probably, mount this little piece right there so it has more leverage on the steering itself. So that should be good. I just have to put some bolts in that and then throw it back on the handle pole. So we should have steering after that. I'll have the thumb or the finger throttle on there. And as you saw in the video, the kill button would not work. I don't know why. It may have to be grounded somehow or something. But that is the only wire that is coming out of there. And I had that mounted up or plugged in. So I'm really not sure why it would not stop. Probably should figure that one out. But yeah, this thing is really coming together. Super pumped on it, and hopefully in the next video we are going to be on the water. All right guys, that is going to be a wrap for today's video. This thing is coming along. I would say it's about 90% complete, so make sure you guys are smashing that like button, helping me out a little bit. And if you guys want to see this thing on the water, definitely leave a comment below. So thank you guys so much for watching.